welcome to another episode of Baked Good. Today we're making something special for my son's birthday, a peanut butter pie with a pretzel crust, all of his favorite flavors in one. Let's get baking. All right, so here we are. We are going to make a peanut butter pie with a pretzel crust. My son is 16 going on 17, and this is a surprise for him. This is many of his favorite things: chocolate, peanut butter, and pretzels. So the first thing we'll do is make the crust. We need 3 cups of crushed pretzels, and I'm going to use the food processor. Normally I would use a rolling pin, but we want these pretty fine because we need to be able to cut this crust like a pie. So I think about 6 cups of pretzel sticks will make about 3 cups of crumbs, but let's see. We want it pretty fine. Just make sure it's getting everything. Maybe just a little more. I know that's pretty ground and small, but that's what we want. We're going for the crispiness and the taste of it, but not the chunks. So I'm going to measure it because we want to make sure we have enough. Can't seem to get it off. May have too many crumbs in there stuck, so I think I'll unplug it before I stick my hands in there or anything. Might just be the angle. There we go. It just had a bit of a suction. You have to be careful with these blades. They're so sharp. All right, so we need 3 cups of ground. And you can see there's still some pieces in there, but the ground will balance it out. We got 1 little extra there. So we were close, and we're going to save this little bit extra for decorating the top. Just move this over a bit. And to these crumbs, we're going to add 1/3 cup of sugar. And a cup of melted butter. I know it seems like a lot, but again, this is something special for his birthday. You know, it's going to be a very rich cake, and the whole family will be having some. Honestly, it is what makes it taste good. So we want to mix this really well. Kind of looks like dirt. You want to make sure you get butter throughout. I don't know how you could not with all that butter in it, but it smells like the movies with the pretzels and the melted butter. All right, so it looks like we've sucked up most of the butter. Now we're going to use a springform pan today. The reason we use a springform pan is so when we're done, the bottom will come out of the pan. It opens up a little and comes right off. So you'd use that for anything like a cheesecake or anything that's going to be formed, and you don't want to ruin the edges. So I'm not going to grease it because there's enough butter in here. We shouldn't have any issues with sticking. So my goal is to cover the whole bottom and have it go up the sides a bit. So you can't see, I want to cover like the bottom crease, and when you cut it, we want it to, you know, have a nice silhouette. I want to get all that because that's some good stuff. I don't know if anybody's ever seen one of these. It's actually for making tarts and pressing it down, but I use it for anything like this that I have to stamp down. So I'm just going to do it a little no rhyme or reason, and then when it starts to look like a crust, I'm going to press a little harder. I want to really stamp it down in the middle, and I want to move out to the outer edges. going to tamp down the edges a bit. And then just look to see if anything's uneven. You don't want a hump, or you want it to be about the same. And I'm going to try and push it up a little bit around the edge, just to make that nice edge, and when we cut it, so it has a nice silhouette. Go all the way around. All right, so that left us with a bit of a ridge, so I'm just going to go back and stamp it down again. And if you think any of that's thick, just push into it a little bit. Even it out, flatten it up. You'll notice it'll get a little higher as you do that, and that's kind of our goal. All right, so this really is a no-bake pie except for the crust. We're going to bake the crust just to set it and cool it down. And also when it comes out, add a little chocolate to it. This is a teenage boy's dream come true, trust me. All right, so we're gonna put this in a 350-degree oven for 10 minutes. And I'll be back to show you what we'll do with it. All right, so we baked the crust for 10 minutes, and here comes a little extra fun part. This is 1.25 cups of chocolate chips. So we're just going to pour them evenly around the bottom. And we're going to put this back in the oven for 5 more minutes until it's nice and melty. Just going to spread it around so it'll do that melty bit a little quicker. Okay, so we'll see you in 5 minutes. All right, so this is 5 minutes later, and our chocolate is nice and melty. We're going to go in there with our angled spatula the best we can and try and spread it all over our crust. Seems like it would be an easy feat, but it's not sometimes. We're getting a little bit of pretzel crumb in it, but I don't think it's going to change how wonderful it's going to be. So trying to get it even. We're going to put all kinds of goodies on it, so I'm not sure it matters, but I don't want a big glob somewhere and not much somewhere else. So I'll just go around the circle a couple times. Make sure everybody's got a little bit. When I looked at this recipe and saw it had a layer of chocolate, I knew it would be good. All right, so we're going to let this cool. I think I'm even going to stick it in the fridge for a bit. It should be nice and cool and not warm at all when we put the filling in. So I'll set up for the filling and we'll be right back. All right, so we're going to work on our filling. I have an 8-ounce brick of cream cheese here that, again, I put in the microwave for about 15 seconds, and it's been out at room temperature because we really need it to be soft so we can blend. And we're going to put that in. And I have 1.25 cups of peanut butter. Now, I don't use anything but natural peanut butter because, as we've spoken about before, I don't do hydrogenated oils. So this is actually just Skippy Natural, which is really good. They even have one that's with honey. But it does have palm oil in it. A lot of them are just peanuts and salt, but that's what I prefer, even in cooking. I try to never use the hydrogenated stuff. So again, this is 1.25 cups. One of my son's favorite flavors, so got to get it in there. I swear when he was a kid, he could eat peanut butter on anything. It's a little messy. And the Skippy kind of natural peanut butter does not have to be stirred. You can see it's a little oily because I took it off the top, but it doesn't settle and you don't have to stir it. So before I add anything else, let's get these blended together. And since the cream cheese was room temperature, it wouldn't be too bad. I'm going to actually turn it up a bit. But these are the two things that we want really blended. Alright, it's all one color, so I'm going to scrape it down. It looks really good. Now to this, I'm going to add 1.25 cups of confectioner sugar, which I usually call triple X, but that's just, I guess, how many times they've broken it down. So a little at a time, still gonna make a mess because it's just how it is. You might notice it's a little stiff. This is almost like if you were making a peanut butter filling for a chocolate. And I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Again, I'm using my Mexican vanilla because I think it's the right flavor for this. So just 1/2 teaspoon. I always eyeball it. I use it so much, I'm just used to it. So it looks pretty thick at this point. It is almost even like a peanut butter, and I have used something like this to roll into truffles or chocolates. So now we're going to put, the recipe calls for a container of Cool Whip, but I always try to use natural things. I don't know if anybody's seen this in the store. It's called True Whip, and again, it's palm oil. I know there's a lot of things made with that, but that allows it to not be hydrogenated. And that's a really big thing to me. And this is no high fructose corn syrup either, which is also a very big thing to me. If you're going to eat this kind of food, you might as well make it as natural as can be. So this is going to lighten it up a lot. We're going to use this whole container. Now remember, this pie is for like 10 to 12 people. I know it seems very decadent and very sweet. And a lot of those people will be teenagers. So I'm going to put a little in, get it started, little by little. Make sure we use it up. Might as well get it all in there. All right. You need to scrape it down because it is kind of everywhere. You can already see it's lighter color. It's a lot fluffier. Now this particular pie, I'm going to put in the refrigerator because it hasn't been that hot. If this was the middle of summer, you absolutely could put this in the freezer too and make like an ice cream pie of it. But I'm thinking the fridge will be fine. It'll solidify, and if it ever should be a hot day, I might have thought of putting it in the freezer. All right, we're going to give it another whirl. Try and get it all one color. All right, that looks just about right. So I'm going to go check on our pie crust and see if it's cool enough to be filled, and I'll be right back. All right, so our crust is nice and cool. Looks pretty good. We're going to put our filling in there. Love these rubber spatulas. I don't know what we did without them. I don't remember having them when I was younger. So we can get every last speck of goodness. All right. So I'm going to smooth this around, get it as neat looking as I can. Right to the edge, because that's what's good about this springform pan. Once it cools in it and we take the edge off, it'll be very nice looking. Smells like a fluffernutter. I should have thought to throw some marshmallows in there. That's my son's other favorite thing. Would have covered all the bases. All right, I do want it very even. I'm one of those people, it has to look just as good as it tastes. I mean, sometimes it's messy, but I try my best. All right. I'm going to smooth it out pretty good, but I'm going to load it with a lot of stuff, so I don't think anybody's going to see the surface. All right, now here comes the fun part. Now I had saved, you saw these reserved pretzels. I'm going to try and do a little bit of a decoration. I think I'll put these around the edge, so it'll kind of tell people what to expect in there. See if I can do it as neatly as possible. I'll turn it while I'm doing it. Just to make it look good. This is for my son's birthday, so I don't want it to be a mess. Just going to press it all the way to the edge again. I might press it a little bit in too, so that it sticks in our peanut butter filling. Spread it a little with my fingers. Actually, that was just the right amount being left for decorations. All right. Now, this might seem a lot, but remember this is for a teenage boy. I'm going to put all these Reese's cups on top of this pie. I know it's a lot. This is just a special treat for a birthday. And honestly, look how small they are these days. When I was younger, I swear to God, that thing felt like it was the whole size of my hand. Not to say that still I'm going to put 8 of these isn't a lot, but for a birthday party, it should be just enough. Now, even sometimes for Christmas, we get my son one of those 10-pound Reese's cup things because it's an absolute favorite of his. Generally, it goes Reese's cups and then chocolate-covered pretzels. So this dessert's really hitting a lot of it. All right, these are a little noisy and messy. I probably should have done these off camera. But you should see what you have to do, what it really entails. I'm going to try and be kind and neat about these. I think I'll cut them in 4s so I could place them around and maybe everybody will get a piece or two with their slice. So let's see if they'll cut neatly. Even if they don't, I suspect people would like to eat them. So I think I shall line them up around the edges, and I'm going to press them in a little bit because once this cools, we want everything to kind of stick so things aren't falling apart as you slice it or trying to eat it. Trying to think of something more decorative to do with them, but I think when all is said and done, it's going to look pretty good. I might keep a whole one in the middle. I'm going to press that right in there. Let the kids fight over who's going to get that one. Let's see, I think we'll start going the other way, just for a bit of a decorative border. Smells like a candy kitchen in here. Generally, I don't make things with this much candy and decadence unless it's the holiday, but I consider a birthday a holiday. All right. Let's see. Do it however you want. I'm just thinking a little bit decorative because you know people eat with their eyes and not just their stomach. You want it to look pretty good, and I kind of want to make this look over the top because, you know, it's his birthday. I think that's enough Reese's. We have one left. I'd hate to have one left. Let's see what we could do. Because it's even going to get worse. All right. Now we're facing all kinds of ways here, but I don't think anybody's going to notice. All right, honest to God, to this, we're going to add a 1/2 cup of mini chocolate chips. These are semi-sweet. You could put any kind you want. Now remember, this is for 10 to 12 people. It seems like an awful lot, but I'm just going to sprinkle them over. You can use more, you can use less. All right, I'm gonna save just a couple because what I want to do is put some rainbow sprinkles on because it is for a birthday and I want it to have a little color even though I'm sure he'll be fine with just that. Now I have through the years made him many cakes, but I have found that this is the kind of dessert that he would rather have. It looks like a lot, but we want over the top. So he's happy for his birthday. And then I'm going to take the rest and go over just so it's layered. Try and fill in anything that looks like it's hanging out. All right. Just going to spread it around, press it down a little bit. Now I'm going to leave this in the fridge overnight before I take the pan sides off. I want it to be nice and stiff, and as I mentioned, you could freeze this if you wanted to. But I think the fridge is going to do it, but it will be in overnight, so I will be back tomorrow to show you how it came out. All right, so it's been sitting all night. Let's see how it comes out. Now it is always kind of a crapshoot. It looks like it came out right. There's nothing weird. This isn't Food Network with somebody that has an extra one in the back. So we're going to bend this back and hopefully it's going to open. Oh, good. We might lose a few pretzels, but it looks like it came out okay. Ooh, I have to loosen it a little bit. There we go. Now the unfortunate thing with a springform pan is it has to go up through. Or maybe, I don't know if this will be big enough to get it off. No, I think it's going to have to go up through. So we're going to hope that we don't drop it. But this is again why I like to show you this kind of stuff, because you should see that it's not all, easy as pie as sometimes they do show it on TV. But honestly, that looks pretty good. We'll put that on a plate. Very minimal damage. We lost a couple of pretzels, but you could see it looks real nice, and see what I meant about the crust coming up a little bit. When we cut that, that'll be beautiful. So there you have it. Chocolate peanut butter pretzel crusted pie. Okay, see you next time.